Hi, it's Marisa from bumblebeeapothecary.com. Today I'd like to show you how to make sourdough pasta. So if you're like me, you're interested in making sure that when you eat grains, making sure that they're properly prepared grains, meaning that they're soaked or fermented. That unlocks the nutrients and it makes our bodies be able to digest them better. So this is the perfect way to be able to enjoy pasta and have the grains properly prepared. So let's jump in and I'm going to show you how easy it is to make your own sourdough pasta. So this recipe requires a little bit of planning ahead. You'll want to start this the day before. You're going to need 1 cup of sourdough starter. It's preferable to have it be live, active, bubbly sourdough starter, but in a pinch, you could also use some sourdough starter from the refrigerator that's cold, and that would still work okay. But you're going to get the nicest benefits if you go ahead and use live, active starter. You also want to have the starter on the thicker side, although again it doesn't matter, it's not crucial. You'll just need to add a little bit more flour to it. So I have 1 cup of sourdough starter in there, and then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. Next I'm going to add 2 eggs, preferably free range, pasture fed organic eggs. And then I'm going to use my sourdough whisk to just kind of whisk together the eggs and the salt and the sourdough starter until it's really well combined. And then I'm going to add the rest of my flour. So in this part of the recipe, you have a lot of flexibility. I'm going to keep this 100% whole grain this time. And so I'm just going to use some soft white wheat flour. Now I don't think that soft white wheat is the most ideal flour for a pasta, but it's what I have on hand. So you could also do part white flour if you wanted to keep it a bit of a lighter consistency. You can really go with whatever you want. You can use a variety of different kinds of flour. So I'm going to start with 1.5 cups of my whole wheat flour here. And then mix that in, and then I'm just going to see if I need to add more or not. I'm looking for it to come together into a stiff ball of dough. Yeah, so it's still pretty sticky. My sourdough starter was a little bit on the wetter side today. That's what I get for not measuring when I fed it last time, but that's okay. I'm just going to add flour until it comes together in a nice ball. It's like we're getting close. Okay, so once it comes together into a ball, I'm just kneading it a few times to kind of just work the dough a little bit. We're going to let it rest out on the counter at room temperature for a few hours, like 3 to 4 hours. And then to get those really good sourdough benefits, we're going to let it do a long, slow fermentation in the refrigerator overnight. So you have flexibility with this. You can put it in there overnight and then just wait till the next day whenever you're ready to make pasta. It doesn't have to be an exact 8 or 12 hours or anything like that. So I'll cover it with a towel, let it sit out for a few hours, then stick it into the refrigerator for overnight. And then once that's done, we're going to move on to our next step. So then once the pasta has sat out at room temperature and then in the refrigerator, we're ready to actually make the noodles. So if you have a pasta machine, you can use that. I don't, so I'm just going to make them by hand. So I have some water coming to a boil here. You want at least 3 quarts of water at a time. I have 4 quarts in there. And then some salt. I just added a few little shakes of salt. And then I have some all-purpose flour here. It's non-enriched. It doesn't have any of those things added to it. It's just some nice pure organic white flour. So I'm going to flour my work surface here, and then I'm going to take about 1/4 of that amount of dough from before at a time and start rolling it out with my rolling pin. Okay, once it's nice and thin, then it's time to cut it into the noodles. You can use a knife. I'm gonna do a pizza cutter, and then I'm just gonna do long, even strips. Whatever size, trying to keep them as even as I can, but since this is a handmade thing, I'm okay if it's a little on the rustic side. Okay, so now I have some nice noodles cut out, and it's time to go ahead and cook them. So I have my water to a boil here. So I'm going to go ahead and just take my noodles and then add them to my pot carefully. And once they're all in, I'm going to let them boil for about 3 to 5 minutes. I will stir them very gently, just a little bit, to make sure that they're not sticking together or anything. Okay, once the cooking time is up, it's time to take them out of the water. Depending on what flour you use, these can be more or less fragile. I'm just taking them out carefully with a slotted spoon. Another way that you could cook your sourdough pasta if you were having soup and you wanted to add noodles to it would be to roll out and cut the noodles like this and then add them to your cooking pot of soup a few minutes before you wanted to serve it. So, and then I like to drizzle a little bit of olive oil on to keep them from sticking together if I'm going to be having it like with a sauce or something. Alright, so that's how easy it is to make your own sourdough pasta. I think it's really fun to know a healthier way to be able to still enjoy pasta and have the grains be properly prepared. You can also dry this pasta on a rack and then store it longer term, and that way you have some on hand to cook as you like. You just want to store it in an airtight container once it's dry. You can also just keep the dough in the refrigerator for about a week, or you can freeze the already shaped noodles as long as you coat them with a lot of flour for several months. I have lots of other nourishing recipe videos. I'll link some below, so be sure and check those out. Let me know what recipe videos you'd like to see me do along the lines of nourishing traditions type food. I'll have some links in the description box below to where I like to buy organic groceries. It's where I get my flour and my grains that I grind into flour. I also have a video that shows how I grind my own flour at home. I'll have that link below so you can check it out. I'll also have a link below to my blog post that has the full written recipe and a printable recipe card if you'd like to grab that. Also check out the description box for links to free ebooks and other goodies. Okay, I hope that you like seeing how to make your own sourdough pasta, and I hope you try it. If you did like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with anybody else who you think wants to know how to make their own sourdough pasta. Here on my channel, I show you how to make nourishing recipes for nutrient-dense food, natural remedies, and DIY skincare and home products. So if those are something that you're interested in and you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I get out 2 videos every week. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.